As you begin your study of the GU system, this tutorial will give you a review of the anatomy of the kidneys and an overview of the major jobs the kidneys perform. We will also look at the three processes used by the kidney to make urine, and then go into more depth on how nephrons accomplish this very important job. This is an anatomical picture of the kidney position. The kidneys form urine, which passes out of the kidney via the renal pelvis. It then travels down the ureters into the urinary bladder, where it is stored until excreted from the body. The kidneys are not actually in the peritoneum, but sit under the back muscles and are retroperitoneal. They receive 20 to 25% of the total cardiac output. While their main function is removal of waste, the kidneys are responsible for multiple processes in the body. Cleansing of the blood occurs mostly in the nephrons. We will discuss it more in detail shortly. Maintenance of fluid and electrolyte balance is done by regulating the volume and concentration of the urine. This is done by increasing or decreasing reabsorption of water and sodium ions. Maintenance of acid-base balance also occurs here. The kidneys accomplish acid-base balance through the regulation of sodium bicarbonate and hydrogen ions. Another important function is blood pressure control. Low blood pressure triggers the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. Angiotensin II is a potent vasoconstrictor, which increases blood pressure. Aldosterone increases blood pressure by increasing sodium reabsorption and decreasing fluid loss through the urine. Remember, where sodium goes, fluid follows. Erythropoietin is a hormone produced by the kidney, which stimulates the bone marrow to make red blood cells, thus increasing red blood cells in the circulating blood. Calcium needs vitamin D for GI absorption. The kidneys produce activated vitamin D, which promotes absorption of calcium in the GI tract, and calcium is needed for healthy bones. The kidney is an amazing organ whose functions, as we've seen, can affect every system in the body. The blood, which is filtered, is supplied to the kidneys through the renal artery and removed through the renal vein. We are going to focus in on the function of the kidney, on the functioning unit of the kidney, the nephron. Each kidney has about 1 million nephrons, and this is where all the action takes place. There are two compartments to the nephron. This depicts the tubular portion of the nephron, which consists of the Bowman's capsule, the proximal convoluted tubule, the loop of Henle, and the distal convoluted tubule, and finally the collecting duct. There are two nephrons pictured here, but remember, there are about 1 million of these nephrons in each kidney. There are two components that make up the nephron, as I said, the tubular one pictured here in green, and a vascular component. The vascular component starts with the afferent arteriole, which brings the blood into Bowman's capsule via the glomerulus. It leaves Bowman's capsule by way of the efferent arteriole. The blood then continues to move around the nephron through the peritubular and vasa recta capillaries. Eventually the blood is moved back into the circulatory system through the renal vein. Keeping in mind these two compartments of the nephron, let's look at the three processes which occur in the nephron. Think of this as cleaning out your closet. There are waste products and drugs that just don't need to be there. We've got too much stuff. During filtration, we're moving everything out. The blood comes into Bowman's capsule, and glomerular filtration occurs as filtrate is passed out of the glomerulus and into the capsule. Everything out of the closet. This filtrate is made up mostly of water, excess salt, sodium and potassiums, glucose, and urea, which is a byproduct of ammonia. During a 24-hour period, this includes around 180 liters of water, which would be a lot of trips to the bathroom if we didn't have the next two processes. As the filtrate passes through the tubular component, reabsorption occurs. We have cleaner's remorse. We really didn't want to get rid of that much. So a lot of stuff is going back into the closet, or the blood. The three main ones are 99% of the water, glucose, and sodium. Think of secretion as the refining of our cleaning. We realize we've got to get serious and decide there are things that really have to go, like hydrogen ions, potassium, ammonia, and certain drugs. So these things are secreted back into the filtrate, which then moves out of the collecting tubules as urine. Finally, everything nice and neat, and we have only what we need. In review, filtration takes place in Bowman's capsule. As the filtrate moves through the tubular system, 99% of the filtrate we begin with at the glomerulus is reabsorbed into the systemic circulation. By the time it reaches the end of the collecting duct, there is only about 1% to be excreted as urine. There should be no blood or protein in the filtrate, as these molecules are too large. Proteinuria signals that damage has occurred in the glomerulus. Creatinine is not affected by reabsorption or secretion, and is therefore used as a marker for kidney function. We've reviewed the main components of the kidneys and their functions, along with the formation of urine through filtration, reabsorption, and secretion. Please go to the linked site for an 8-minute tutorial which will explain these components in more detail. As you watch the video, remember he is drawing the tubular component. The vascular component moves around the tubules, which is how the reabsorption and secretion between the two components occurs.